Hello, dear friends. On November 12th, during the International Forum Global Crisis, Our Survival is in Unity, we talked about the increase in the magmatic activity in the Yellowstone area over the past decade. Let's watch it. One of the most famous supervolcanoes, Yellowstone, is showing alarming signs of seismic activity. The number of earthquake swarms is increasing there. The map shows the ground rises and sinks near the caldera. The magma there is critically close to the crust, and any slightest destabilization in a planet's interior will cause an eruption of Yellowstone. And this means a catastrophe, not only for the USA, but for all humankind. Supervolcanoes will undoubtedly react when the magma gets closer. The motion of the planet core increases the pressure of magma, and then the pressure reaches a critical point, the magma will burst out and form exploding volcanoes. But there is even more horrifying fact. Recently, a short video with the participation of Igor Mikhailovich Danilov was published on our Creative Society channel, in which he voiced the information about the trends in the development of the events in the Yellowstone caldera in the coming years.
I'll say even more. Starting from the nearest time and in the years to come, the famous Yellowstone caldera will keep not only Americans, but the entire sensible world in a state of fear. The thing is that the magma conduits to this caldera are currently manifesting unprecedented activity. The temperature of magma in them is increasing rapidly right now. Is this really not seen? A simple question. Why do we know about this while others are silent? After all, what does it mean when magma conduits heat up? Well, just to make it clear, those are, let's say, kind of fissures through which magma can move. So they heat up. And what happens when they heat up, friends? Expansion. That means what? Magma is coming up under the caldera in larger and larger quantities. Meanwhile, we know that there's a sizable bubble of this magma under the caldera, and its temperature is increasing. Can this not be seen? It is seen. Do they not know it? They know. They know but keep silent. That's the trouble, friends. That somewhere we try to hide information, or we keep silent. But we are actually human beings, friends. This is serious information. What may happen to the caldera at any minute? Well, it is people's lives, the lives of not even millions but billions of people. After all, let's say the activation of Yellowstone will affect the entire humanity, not just America. And there is no guarantee that this kind of a breach won't cause a synchronization. I, however, think it will. But this is merely my personal opinion. Yet, you know, there is such a concept that is called mathematics. If we apply this science to the processes that are going on today in our planet's core, we will see that everything is happening literally by the same mathematical code. If the Yellowstone caldera bursts, this will not weaken the processes going on inside the planet, but on the contrary, it will cause a chain reaction of those. Why? Because it would further destabilize our core, friends. Imagine a release of a huge amount of magma when there is an unstable core that is constantly being accelerated by an external factor, so to say. Here the restraining factor is precisely that very magma. It holds everything back. It's a liquid, but rather thick and viscous, substance. And here, some of it comes out. What happens then? A rarefaction, right? Hence the instability increases. And what will a sharp increase in instability of the core lead to? You understand for yourselves. I'm certainly not saying that the caldera will explode tomorrow morning. But do you know what the most terrible thing is? That no one will give you a guarantee that it will not explode by tomorrow night. Although, to be honest, I personally think that Yellowstone will not activate in the next few years at least. But I am quite sure it will make everyone pretty nervous. Why? Because it will hardly be possible to conceal what will happen in the near future. We will see a mass of earthquakes, not only small ones, but also more severe ones. Although one would think a serious earthquake which may occur, well, no date, in that very China. Can it affect the caldera? It would seem it cannot, right? Meanwhile, my friends, this absolutely fits our mathematical model. And what does this have to do with China, it would seem? It would seem it has nothing to do with it. It is far away, not there. Yes, if we look at the planet from above, it doesn't fit. But if we look at our planet in a cross-sectional view, where China is and where the caldera is, and what would happen when a big earthquake occurs, I'm not saying a very strong one, no friends, within the magnitude of 7. And this is more than enough, depending on where it happens, in South China or North China. So, on the one hand, it will be a local disaster, while on the other hand, it will be a planetary disaster, if it happens within the next 4 or 5 months. Well, 4 months is the worst case. In month 5, it is less scary. 6 months from today, it won't be scary anymore. But in month 8, God forbid. Look how easily everything changes. Why? Because this is math. And we understand how the core is shifting, where the pressure rises, how it presses on the plates, and what happens at the time when a seemingly insignificant earthquake occurs, not even at a very great depth, somewhere far from the caldera, but it causes a response which affects. And here's the most interesting thing, not so much the magma, but through the plates it affects that very bubble, you see, which is under Yellowstone. An internal pressure builds up in it, moreover, it arises abruptly, which can actually trigger the eruption of the caldera. I'm saying it again. Along the conduits where magma is flowing, the process is already underway and it is very rapid. This overlapping can actually cause a disaster of a global scale.
And today, we want to draw your attention to the processes taking place in Yellowstone right now. On January 20th, a magnitude 6.8 earthquake occurred in the province of Santiago del Estero in Argentina. The epicenter was at the depth of 610 kilometers. On January 24, the earthquakes in Argentina repeated, measuring 6.4 at a depth of 601 kilometers. And also on January 20th, there was another earthquake with a magnitude 6.2 in the Caribbean Sea, coming at the depth of 166 kilometers. You may ask, what do the earthquakes in Argentina and the Caribbean Sea have to do with the Yellowstone? As it turned out, these seismic events are directly related to the activation of Yellowstone, which fully confirms the mathematical model described in a forum on November 12 and the information shared by Igor Mikhailovich Danilov. These relationships were also noticed by researcher Mary Greeley, and she published several videos about these seismic activities on her channel. Let's watch it.
Hi guys, I'm glad you're all here. Thank you very much for joining me. Today is January 21st, 2023, and yesterday there was a magnitude 6.8 earthquake southwest of Campo Gallo, Argentina, South America. Since the onset of 2023, the frequency of earthquakes has elevated across the globe. Are you prepared for large earthquakes? I hope so. This earthquake in Argentina struck around 3:39 a.m. It had a depth of 610 kilometers, or about 379 miles below sea level. All earthquakes are measured from sea level. Also yesterday, there was a magnitude 6.2 earthquake. It was originally a 6.5. That was revised to a 6.2 there in the Caribbean. That earthquake was felt as far as Puerto Rico. Here is the earthquake that occurred in Argentina, and it shook up the Yellowstone caldera. And I'll show you the one that occurred in the Caribbean. I'll go back another 8 hours, I believe. And that one also shook up Yellowstone, which was really unusual. There it is right there. Yeah, I've never seen an earthquake from the Caribbean shake up Yellowstone. So we got two large earthquakes that shook Yellowstone within the last 24 hours. I did a report on that, and I'll do another one today. Here's a current image of Yellowstone from the Old Faithful webcam. I talked about all the snow that has melted, even though it is below zero at night. And I think, let's see, it is currently only 7 degrees there. It's currently 9:39 a.m. Central Daylight Time, and it's been getting down to about, well, tonight 2 below zero, 8 below zero, Sunday night, and you can see, yeah, it's been freezing there. The activity for the geysers has really increased. They just moved the camera. Yeah. And there's areas where they actually have standing water from the heat of the magma coming up, because these earthquakes have been shaking the magma chamber.
So we see that the earthquakes in Argentina and the Caribbean Sea caused movement of magma and seismic activity in the Yellowstone caldera. This suggests that the pressure in magma chamber has already increased, so that even distant and deep earthquakes generate vibrations and activation of magma in the supervolcano. Look, friends, we have a huge team around the world and huge amount of people working, and Mary Greeley is working alone on her own and independently came to this understanding, not being familiar with our mathematical model, but simply through her own observations and experience. Mary is an expert, and she knows her field very well, and therefore she is looking not at a single event, she is looking at the planet as a whole. We know what processes are going on, how cataclysmic synchronization is happening, but we have been studying that since 1996, and Mary is observing it by herself. Why aren't scientists talking about it? Or do they know and are keeping quiet? When we started to talk about the deep focus earthquake, that their number and depth was growing, everyone was laughing at us. And now deep focus earthquakes are being observed all over the world, and their depth is growing. We have heard many times that this is nonsense, this is impossible, but now it is happening more and more often, and it's no longer possible to ignore it. And our mathematical model explains it all. If scientists of all disciplines got together, they could have built the model themselves. We were able to do that, and the most of us are not scientists. Our planet is a single system. Earthquakes at great depth cannot pass without leaving a trace, without affecting any processes. The reaction may not always be immediate, and the effect of an earthquake may be delayed for 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the depth, magnitude, and internal cavitational explosions. Here, it is important to clarify that what the instrument records as a deep focus earthquakes are actually the cavitational explosions. I will explain the difference. We typically use the term earthquakes to describe the phenomena occurring in a solid crust due to the cracking of rocks. And now, more and more often, this cracking is due to the intrusion of magma pushed out by the acceleration of our planet's rotation and centrifugal forces. The pressure of magma on the plates is what causes earthquakes. Deep focus earthquakes have completely different nature. They are comparable to the explosions of the atomic bombs. They are cavitational explosions that are distributed tangentially in all directions. What causes them? The acceleration of magma and the instability of core intensifies magma movement in different directions, creating turbulent flow. This creates whirls that release gases. The sudden release of these gases leads to the discharge of enormous amount of energy, which is equivalent to the nuclear explosion inside the planet. Cavitation explosion result in a reflected wave, which is directly towards the Earth core, causing resonance and intensification of these processes. During the cataclysmic cycle of 12,000 years, these processes are common. We talked about them, but before, these were rare events that scientists did not pay attention to. Now, these processes are becoming more frequent, which means that instability is increasing. And if there is instability in the Earth core, then it will also affect the stability of the magma. There is a failure in the system itself. What we are talking is very important to understand. But the problem is that nobody wants to hear it. This process cannot stop on its own because the planet is being influenced from outside, an external influence. We are seeing increasing instability in the bowels of the planet. Until we stop the external influence, the destructive processes will increase. Even if we slaughter all the cows, nothing will change. What destabilizes the core is an external influence, the external impact. How is the Earth built? It is a self-balancing system. It should be stable. It is a unique thing. Only outside influence leads to destabilization. Take away external influence and it stabilizes. It is a self-balancing mechanism, self-equilibrating, like a billion years perpetual motion machine in which everything have to balance out. It is ingenious mechanism. Any failure is caused by external influence. Inside the Earth, in the mechanism of the Earth core, there is nothing to break. It is a very, very stable system. We really should have such machines. They would be indestructible. Just imagine a machine or a car which repairs itself. But such a phenomena is possible only in macro objects, such as planets and planets near a star. These are the conditions for self-regulation. Planets in all star system will have the same mechanism, unique and universal. Therefore, only external influence can lead to destabilization. No macro object can cause such an external influence. Moreover, it cannot destabilize all planets in the solar system once every 12,000 years and cause even stronger destabilization once every 24,000 years. So, what can cause such an external influence? We have given a detailed explanation about the cause of the cataclysmic cycle of 12,000 years in the forum Global Crisis. Our survival is in unity. Dear Mary, we would like to sincerely thank you for what you are doing. It is really amazing. Your findings are crucial for understanding how our planet works. The information you're sharing is very important for millions of people, and not only for those who live near Yellowstone and those who live in the similar regions, but for all of us, because Yellowstone explosion is a disaster of planetary scale. If we could, we would like to bring to your attention that there may be more seismic events that affect Yellowstone's activity in the future. We have been observing these changes and correlations for many years. Your observations are consistent with our mathematical model. The fact that you came to similar conclusions independently of us is very important and valuable. The more such independent researchers discover interconnection of the cataclysmic events and the seriousness of situation, the faster we will be able to spread this important information and to reach out to people. We would like to invite you for collaboration, and we will be happy to record an interview with you about the Yellowstone supervolcano. This will be one of the main topics of a forum, Global Crisis, There is a Way Out, which will be held on April 22nd, 2023. The forum will be simultaneously translated into 150 languages, and your expert opinion will be heard by millions of people around the world. Thank you very much, and we are looking forward to meet you.